now. All right, we start our show with one of the best games of the entire postseason thus far. The Road Dogs were out as Anthony Edwards and the Wolves took it to the Spurs last night. Ant coming off the bench for the first time in his playoff career. We'll start late in the first quarter. Edwards, easy jumper here.
You see this? The breaks, skirt, hello, drawback, knockdown.
Sometimes it's more impressive to stop than to accelerate, right, Chiney?
He's back, he said. Now, Victor Wembanyama was a one-man wrecking crew. 7 blocks in the first half, Chiney.
A one-man helicopter, a one-man chopper. The first time we've ever seen this amount of blocks in a playoff game like this.
Yep. So, insane game for him. We go to the fourth quarter. Edwards over Wemby.
This was a shot for me. It takes a lot of confidence in isolation, knowing his reach to be able to be comfortable to shoot that three-point shot.
He doesn't talk trash, though. He just said, look at that.
Yeah, he doesn't want to poke that there.
Wemby returning the favor there. Spurs in transition. Fox with the finish. Wembanyama 12 blocks, a new playoff record.
But falls down. I want you to remember that. He fell down there. That's all I'm going to say.
Out of the play. Out of the play.
Ant taking over in the fourth. Game tied at 84. Drives past Keldon Johnson.
I always say this, George. Good players have go-to moves. Great players have counter. He has so many moves in his bag.
Also, Julius Randle moving Wemby out of the way. That was key as well.
Now, floater over Keldon.
Float game.
Those two had some words, by the way, heading to the timeout. Edwards scored 8 of his 11 fourth-quarter points in isolation in Game 1.
I can't believe Ant was talking. He's done.
Yeah. Under 5 to play. Wolves up 6. Terrence Shannon Jr.
Okay, but
on the drive.
Look, where's Victor? Where's Victor?
Yep, on the ground again.
Okay, that's
important. Here's Mike Conley, big 3.
That's important. That was a big play.
Under a minute left. That stretched it to 9. Spurs now down 6. Wembanyama.
Oh, I need more of this.
Finish inside.
Why didn't this happen more and more and more?
Inverted drag screen. Love it.
34 seconds left. Wolves inbounding up 4. Edwards throws it away to Dylan Harper. He finishes on the other end. Spurs within 2. Final sequence. 14 seconds left. Wolves up 2. Julius Randle. He'll miss the jumper. Spurs secure the rebound. They have 2 timeouts left. As they come in transition, you see Wembanyama well behind the play.
Hot potato.
Julian Champagnie will eventually take a rhythm dribble here.
Victor wasn't in a hurry.
He was not. He's got an open look, though.
Oh, now that is next level stat.
There's the stat right there that tells everything.
Still, it was a good look.
Versus catch and shoot. Misses. Wolves coming to San Antonio. Steal game 1 by 2. Here's Ant-Man after the game.
We just want to win ball games. That's all we want to do as a group. No matter who night it is, we don't care. We want to embrace each other. We got number love for each other. We want to see all of each other succeed.
The Timberwolves closed as a 10.5-point underdog via DraftKings last night. So that win tied Minnesota's second largest upset in a playoff game in franchise history. The last time the Wolves got at least a 10.5-point win as an underdog in a playoff game was 1999. Prince was singing about that, okay? That's how long ago it was. All right, George Sedano in here for Malika Andrews, Brian Windhorst, Chiney Ogwumike here in our L.A. studios. Brian, how did the Wolves pull this off?
Good game plan. Check. Poise on the road. Check. And mental toughness. That's what it takes. I was so impressed with the mental toughness that Minnesota showed in this game because you're going to get your shot blocked 12 times. You're going to go through some stuff, okay? And what impressed me is that every time they got their shot blocked, they just kept going. They didn't give up on the play. And look, we showed a minute ago. Sometimes Victor fell down. 12 shots got blocked, Chiney. Guess what? 5 times, including that one right there, the Wolves were able to get the ball back. It ended up generating 6 second chance points in a game they won by 2.
Yeah, it takes a level of commitment and trust to understand that you're going to get your shot blocked, but you're also going to play a style that benefits you because the ping pong, when Wemby blocks and get the ball back, those are actually great looks because he was out of the play because he really attacks those blocks. Now, on the other side, you just have to think about the level of sacrifice that it takes for a team to be great. And right now, the Minnesota Timberwolves understand that when it comes to Anthony Edwards. And you saw he had 18 points, 11 of them in the fourth quarter. And the sacrifice here comes between Ant and Julius Randle, who is paving the way, literally, for Ant to be able to get to his floater. And that is the commitment that Chris Finch talked about post-game, that Julius was so good moving without the basketball.
You heard of a ball screen? That was a basket screen.
And how about that move right there? Yeah. Rudy Gobert, again, is blocking out offensively so that Ant can stay in single coverage and he can cook. He came into the game on a minutes restriction, but we saw the first shot go down. He's like, I'm back, I'm here. It took a team effort for him to be successful to help carry the load.
And I love TJ Shannon's quote afterwards when they were asked about being blocked by Wemby so many times. He said, he can't block them all, right? He paraphrased, right? But he said, I can't block them all. We're going to keep going at him. We're going to keep trying to dunk on him.
You can't catch them all. You can't catch them all.
And I mentioned the game plan before. Chris Finch came in here with the game plan, not only to deal with Wembanyama, but how to get Ant as much as they could get out of him in those 25 minutes. They set it up so they had time in the fourth quarter. He was as well rested as he can. Comes in, scores all those fourth quarter points. Yes, Ant did a great job of getting himself there. Great game plan by Chris Finch, knowing what he was going to have from number 5 and maximizing it, put themselves in position.
We were all here yesterday, and when the news broke that Anthony Edwards was going to play, I said, we're underselling this.
Oh, yeah, agreed.
It's a big deal for these reasons. He was not a full participant. Like Wendy said, he was in a minutes restriction, but to be able to manage when he could be his best, and most importantly, everyone's been waiting for, the full maturation of Anthony Edwards. He's a guy who's himself, and we love his authenticity. But after the game, him fixated on the turnover, him fixated on not getting those blockouts, to me shows the growth and the standard that he's holding himself to. And I think that's why this team overall is doing well in this postseason.
Yeah, it's great to see, certainly, how he is maturing in so many ways. But Victor Wembanyama, meanwhile, became just the 3rd player to record a triple-double with blocks in the playoffs. Since blocks were officially tracked back in 1974, he joins Hakeem Olajuwon and Andrew Bynum in that category. Here was Wemby when asked if there was any type of silver lining after the loss.
Is there a silver lining here to as tough as this one might be?
Yeah, I don't know what a silver lining means, but yeah, of course, obviously we have to be better, and as I said, it shows up on the stat sheet, but we need to figure out before 48 hours what we can do better, and I got no doubt that we will.
So, Janae, is there such a thing as a silver lining after a loss like that?
On our pre-show call, what did you know, Wendy?
I was kind of a rainbow lining because isn't that the Spurs or don't
Right, that's fair. Fair point. Yes.
I don't remember what I said.
There is no
what you said is that it's funny how he said there's no silver lining. For him, it's black or white. Right. We win or we lose, and we have to move and learn in order to get back in the win column. The issue to me is the three-point shooting. And, you highlighted on that call, our pre-show call, the need for them to be.
On that call.
Yeah, you were absolutely a star. Actually, you were a star in yesterday's call because we got some choice words, which was passion, right? But more importantly, the three-point shooting, Victor Wembanyama was 0 for 8 from 3. And anytime he's 0 for 8 or shoots probably over 5 threes a game, you're going to hear, oh, maybe he should attack more downhill. That one possession that I loved, it's a drag screen, so that means in transition, there's a screen on the ball, and typically it's a post screening, and then the guard is rolling and attacking, and then the post gets the pick and roll, right? Instead, they invert it because this guy is so talented, he can handle the ball himself, and so now the guard is setting a brush screen for Victor Wembanyama to go downhill. And we were just talking about, Wendy, how do you guard that? Because he can also put the brakes and hit the three, or more importantly, with shooters surrounding, when you're knocking down three-point shots, you can get to the rim. We saw it finished with a dunk on 1.5 steps.
You're not going to get anywhere if you tell Victor Wembanyama to shoot less threes. He doesn't believe in it. He hasn't believed in it since he was a child. He is going to shoot what he thinks is impossible. However, there are going to be instances where his team is going to benefit by him looking to go inside. His size matters more at the end of playoff games. It just has more value. I believe he will learn that. But I will say that in the second half of this season, the Spurs were a top 7-8 three-point shooting team. Against the Blazers, again, elite three-point shooting. It was like, is this real or not? Game 1, 10 of 36. That's going to be a key stat to keep watching. Are they going to shoot it like they did at the end of the regular season, or is this game 1 the beginning of something?
And also, Victor Wembanyama is the ultimate autocorrect. So any game where he shoots the three and doesn't make, the next game, typically he adjusts his game, right? You're not going to see that consistency in the worst ways possible. So I think he will adjust moving on to game 2.
Yeah, he's as smart as they come at that age, for sure. I don't think there's any doubt about that. All right, coming up, the Knicks didn't just win. They put on a Big Apple beatdown.
Another one.
So what exactly did they figure out? And is it sustainable? Plus, the Lakers know what's waiting for them in OKC. But what player could be the key piece in withstanding the storm from the Thunder? And this is the round where LeBron has built some of his best playoff memories. And we're about to see something to add
no regard
to that list.
For human life.
It was a Big Apple beatdown last night at the Garden. Jalen Brunson and the Knicks hosting Game 1 versus the Sixers. We'll start here, under 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Brunson goes at Paul George, shoots the midi.
I would say it was a longie.
Okay. Under 2 minutes left the first. Kelly Oubre Jr. goes for the layup. He gets blocked by Anunoby. Anunoby has the ball on the other end.
OG is really having a great start to this postseason.
9 minutes left the second. Josh Hart strips the ball, gets it to Bridges. Fast break finish. Anunoby and Bridges, first duo to each average 20 points, 75% field goal percentage in the same 2-game span.
Now that's 3 and D.
Here's Brunson.
That's a midi.
I would say that's more like
a floater. Okay,
yeah,
you're
push
right.
shot even.
All right, it's 1-1. Who will win the next?
Final seconds of the second quarter. Mikal Bridges kicks it out to Brunson.
What do you call him that one?
3-ball. As the clock expires, Brunson 5 straight 35-point games versus the Sixers.
He had to go to the bathroom. He's like, get out of my way.
Tied with Jordan for the longest streak of all time. That's always good. 7 minutes left in the third. Towns sets the screen, gets the ball back, and a triple for Cat. The Knicks go on to dominate the Sixers 137-98. New York's 39-point win, its largest in a home playoff game in franchise history, and second largest in a playoff game behind their 51-point win over the Hawks in Game 6 just a few days ago this postseason. Jalen Brunson was with SVP last night and spoke about the blowout wins.
I don't think it's sustainable for us to keep thinking we're going to win by so much.
Sure.
I think we have the confidence to win. But I think most importantly, just having the right mindset, making sure we're paying attention to the little details. All the little things matter, and just can't lose sight of the main thing and staying focused.
We're playing well, but it doesn't mean anything if we can't find a way to get 3 more wins. So we just got to stick to the task at hand. What you said is the last 4 games. The key word is last. It doesn't have anything to do with the next 3, 4, 5, 6. We got to stay locked in and be disciplined and execute at a high level.
Oh, no. The key word right here for New York Knicks fans from me is I'm sorry. I was wrong. I was seduced by the Philly Game 7 special, and I thought that maybe on paper they had more talent. No. I will have to bow down to this game changer, big body Brunson, because over the last 3 games, he's averaged 30 on 62% shooting, and he does his damage off of the dribble. Great screen by Josh Hart, and there it gets to where he was hotter than anyone else on the floor in New York. He had 27 points in the first half, and guess what? This is what I like. The unselfish nature of this Knicks squad right now. Cat knows he's cooking. He gets the ball. He doesn't even look at the rim, gives it back to Brunson. Brunson, once again, gets to his mid-range. He is lethal off the dribble. This right here, I will never bet against this guy and this squad again, at least when it comes to the Eastern Conference, because they are dominant, and so is he. Jalen Brunson shot 6 for 7 on pull-ups when driving in Game 1. You're right. I should have done this. His 12 points scored on those shots are the second most in any game of his career, regular season or playoffs. I learned my lesson. New York, stand up.
So, Brian, what have the Knicks figured out during this stretch?
Well, they've just played such clean execution on offense, and it's just led to great. I mean, look, when you get hot, you get hot. But they had a really good game plan in this one. They went after Joel Embiid. Now, look, I know that Joel Embiid gets attacked regularly in the pick and roll. That has been the case since he's been in his career. But the Knicks had a purpose. Now, here he is. This is classic drop coverage, all right? So he's going to drop back. He gets caught in no man's land. Mitch gets behind him. After that happens, now he's going to be very, very wary of Mitch, so he's going to stick with him. He's going to say, oh, man, I don't want Mitch to go back to the rim again. I'm going to go with him this time. And then he gives up a straight line drive to the rim. Look, it's one thing to have this in your lineup. This is just a basic pick and pop. Joel is slow to recover because he's been getting beat on drives. Look, it's one thing to have this in your offense. This is not like next level stuff, but getting it, having it cleanly run and executed is the pathway to getting quality offense in the postseason. That's what the Knicks did.
And speaking of quality offense, the hub of their offense has been Karl Anthony Towns. And on that breakdown, I showed that on some plays he didn't even look at the basket because he was feeding the guy that had the hot hand in Jalen Brunson. But his playmaking, you have to appreciate and give attention to this, because this is a part of his game that I don't think many people give him enough credit. Over the last 4 games, he's had at least 6 assists. And I believe in that span, right, he had 2 triple-doubles. Was it 4 or so? Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. He had 2 triple-doubles.
He never had a playoff game with more than 5 assists. He's had 6 for 4 games in a row.
Yeah,
and
that's
double-doubles.
the longest streak. And so finally, I'm glad sometimes you have to go through it to get to it. They went through a very difficult loss in the first-round series versus the Atlanta Hawks, and they made the requisite adjustments. And right now, this is the best version of the New York Knicks that I have seen in a very long time, at least within the last 2 years.
One thing that happened in this game, of everything that the Knicks did, Tyrese Maxey, we have not said his name. We've been talking about this game for most of the show. We have not said Tyrese Maxey's name once. That's not going to get it done. He only took 9 shots in like 27, 28 minutes. They need him to be a bigger factor. I kind of feel like with Embiid being so hot these last 3 games, all of the Philly guards, not just Maxey, were kind of looking to get Embiid going, and their game plan, I think, was to get the Knicks into foul trouble, so it did kind of work, but it took Maxey out. Maxey needs to get back to being the ball-dominant player that he's been so effectively against the Knicks in the past.
We'll see if the Sixers can bounce back. Now, let's get everybody ready because it's time for WNBA today.
Let's go.
We're only 3 days away from opening night. Sticking in New York, where Sabrina Ionescu is expected to miss at least 2 weeks after rolling her left ankle in the Liberty's preseason game versus the Sun. Chene, how big of a blow is this for the Liberty early on?
Yeah, this is a big blow for the New York Liberty, but I do think that getting Satu Sabally is actually going to help them in this time frame because Breanna Stewart, Satu, they all can bring the ball, they all can dribble, but they will need their point guard. She's someone who has paced the WNBA and made threes the last 5 or so years, and so getting Sabrina back healthy will be important, but take your time. It's still just the beginning of the season.
Now on to Chicago, where the Sky waived college star Haley Van Lith and signed Natasha Cloud, a veteran. Chene, what do you make of the moves they've made?
Man, I wish Haley Van Lith still has a spot in the WNBA, but still I understand bringing in Natasha Cloud. She is a fierce competitor. She's a champion, and she plays at a high level on both ends of the floor. Watch the Chicago Sky adding Skylar Diggins, adding Rakia Jackson. They have a number of veterans. It looks like they're in win-now mode, especially picking up someone that a lot of people were excited to see signed to the Chicago Sky this morning.
And lastly, some news this morning. Former #1 pick and 2012 MVP Tina Charles announced today that she's calling it a career. Chene, what legacy is the legend TC leaving behind?
Post-game legendary. She finished #1 all-time in the WNBA in rebounds, #2 in scoring. She was hard to guard, and I have personal ties to her because when she went to New York, that's how I got to Connecticut. We've always been attached at the hip with our stories, and Tina, you have been a sensation.
Worth of games.
Just in the second round.
Just
a
nuts.
whole season worth of second-round success.
All right, we rank the top of the top. Best LeBron round 2 moments.
Let's go.
At number 5, 2014 versus the Nets on Paul Pierce. In and out dribble.
In and out dribble, yeah.
That was tough.
Too strong.
He always likes beating Garnett and Pierce. I don't care what
that.
uniform they had on.
Yeah, he definitely enjoyed those years for sure. Number 4, 2015 versus the Bulls. The three-pointer. This is the one he took the
I scratched it. I scratched it. He's like, no, I'm taking this shot, David Blatt.
Yep. The Cavs avoid going down 3-1 and tie the series.
That was a huge moment in his second Cavs career.
Yep. Number 3, 2020 in the bubble.
Bubble hoop.
Against the Rockets on Russ.
Oh, man.
I respect the D.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Why wouldn't I?
Future teammate, and then not a teammate.
True.
At number 2, we're going back to 2008 versus the Celtics for this one.
Kevin Harlan.
Yeah.
No regard for human life. Iconic moment.
Yes, it was. Bar.
Also, Garnett shoved him. It was a little bit of a dirty play.
And number 1. Take a listen. Watch.
It's going to be James. Here it is. James under 3 seconds to go. Throws up the floater. Good night, Cleveland.
Shout out to my guy Jonesy. Good night, Cleveland. That was also the LeBron game.
I want you to think about the quietest place you've ever been. That was the Toronto locker room after that game. I was in there.
Yeah. That was exactly 8 years ago today. LeBron James wins off that one-legged runner to go up 3-0. They win the series in 4. All of LeBron's magic aside, the Lakers are getting 15.5 points in Game 1 against OKC tonight via DraftKings Sportsbook. That'd be the largest underdog LeBron has ever been in an NBA game. Not a playoff game, an NBA game.
Wow.
All right, so Dave McMenamin and Tim McMahon are at the Paycom Center for Game 1 tonight, and we have some key players missing from this series. Dave, Luka Doncic is out tonight. What are the chances he could return for the series?
George, this has been a very slow ramp up for Luka. He's been almost more than a month, 33 days since he suffered that grade 2 left hamstring strain against OKC in this building. Now, he was on the court on earlier this week going through very light shooting, not a lot of movement. Sources told Shams Charania that it's going to be a week-to-week situation with him. So you start to project outwards, and you're talking about potentially Games 3 and Games 4 at Crypto.com Arena, where you could see Luka Doncic if things progress, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Now, with that in mind, a team source told me that the Lakers are going into tonight thinking that they need to try to catch the Thunder off guard and steal one. The Thunder's the team with all the rest. The Thunder's the team with all the confidence from beating the doors off the Lakers during the regular season. If they can somehow come in and win tonight, the entire series could look different.
All right, Dave, thank you so much. Yeah, the Thunder defeated the Lakers on average by nearly 32 points in the regular season. On the other side, Jalen Williams is also out tonight. We haven't seen him since Game 2 of the first round against Phoenix, but OKC has been just fine without J-Dub this year, going 41-10 without him in the regular season and the playoffs. So we welcome back Tim McMahon here. Tim, what can you tell us about the status of Jalen Williams for this series?
Howdy, George. Week to week is also the phrasing that the Thunder are using to describe Jalen Williams out tonight. We will see if he plays in this series. And look, I'm not sure how competitive the series is. I'm not sure if that will play into whether Jalen Williams gets back on the floor in the series. What we do know is A.J. Mitchell is going to be in the Thunder starting lineup. And I think this is going to be potentially a coming-out party for him in terms of casual fans around the NBA. He wasn't in the Thunder's playoff rotation as a rookie last year as he was coming back from an injury. He's been one of the best 6 men in basketball, and with Jalen Williams out of the lineup, he's really that secondary creator alongside Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And A.J. Mitchell had 22 points, 6 assists in that closeout win to complete the sweep of the Suns. The Thunder are certainly hoping that he picks up where he left off Game 1 tonight against the Lakers.
All right, Tim, adios, amigo. Thank you so much for the time. Now, A.J. Mitchell, he brings up a great point. I mean, had he played enough games, would have been in the sixth-man conversation. But when you look at this series, Brian, what to you could be the difference here?
Yeah, so secondary playmaking. We know that LeBron's going to have the ball in his hand. We know that Shai's going to have the ball in his hand. In the playoffs, when your primary playmaker is so often set up the defense, secondary playmaking is vital, okay? And so that's where Austin Reeves and A.J. Mitchell come in. Now, Austin Reeves is a guy who's done this before. Remember, I'm him?
Yeah.
You know, this is where I'm him came from, was a playoff setting where he was able to, alleviate some of that playmaking on LeBron. And so they need him to be an offensive hub. He was okay in finishing out that series against Houston. He's gotten a couple extra days here to come off of that oblique injury. That's big. His opposite number that McMahon just talked about, A.J. Mitchell, he was 16-1 when he started in the regular season. He started in the whole first-round series against Phoenix. They won all 4 of them. Yeah. So that 20-1 record says a lot right there. He was a guy who was basically their backup point guard during the regular season. Now, with him in the starting lineup in the place of Jalen Williams, he can still handle that and sort of be the point guard, secondary point guard on the court. So that is so important, those two guys taking the burden off. I think you will see those guys both have their imprints on tonight's game.
Let's take a moment to focus also on the primary point guard and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, because the biggest question in the NBA the last 2 years, as being the front runner this year once again for MVP, is how do you slow this man down? No one has been able to do it. And when you go into the micro versus the Los Angeles Lakers over the last 2 years, SGA has averaged 31.2 points, the second most amongst players when they take on Los Angeles, the Lakers. I don't see an answer. And again, when you're dealing with someone so confident that they can choose how they want to beat you, meaning in the first round series versus Suns, he was like, oh, no J-Dub, I'm going to drop 40 plus. Okay, the next following game, the closeout, the sweep game, he's like, oh, I can distribute the rock. I can, get 8+ assists or so. He can beat you in a variety of ways. I don't see an answer. And the one time we saw people say, all right, let's just try to pack the paint, keep him from getting downhill to his kill spots, he hit the Denver Nuggets with one of the most iconic shots in the NBA regular season with the 3. he can just make shots when they need them to be made.
I think the interesting thing about him is that his superpower, at least according to Mark Daigneault, is just how inclusive he is and what a great teammate he is. They have guys on this roster, as we know, that some people have never even seen play basketball, but we know can play basketball. A.J. Mitchell was one of those guys from last year,
exactly
right?
Yeah.
And it's because, Mark Daigneault will tell you, it's because of Shea. It's like, it doesn't matter who's on the floor. This guy, that guy, let's do it. Hey, I'm Shea. Let's play together. We'll make this work. And that, to me, is the true definition of an MVP.
Yeah, and the thing, I mean, that's what LeBron did. One of the reasons he's won all these second-round series is because he uplifts his teammates. He takes guys. If I showed you some of the guys who are their probably second and third leading scorers in those games, you'd be like, I don't even remember that guy. Well, you may be not heard of these Thunder guys. You may not remember those Cavs guys. So that's kind of what their assignment both is tonight. Like, you need Luke Kennard. You need Rui Hachimura. That's to help LeBron. And that's the thing that the Thunder do. Their Thunder are so deep that they really never stop coming at you. And for a Lakers team that's a little depleted, that's doubly hard.
All right, it's time for a Heat Check brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Chiney, what do you have for us today?
For all of these reasons, I'm going to say SGA is going to drop 30. At least 30. I have him for 30-plus points. This is what he does against the Los Angeles Lakers, and going up against a historical great in LeBron James, he'll want to make a statement.
Wendy?
Someone smarter than me advised me that Rui Hachimura has gone over 13 points in 5 of their 6 playoff games.
Okay.
So I'm going to do it again.
And last but not least, you guys, Chet Holmgren, we need to talk about him more. He's averaging 17 points on nearly 60% shooting. And last game, he knocked down 2 threes, so put him in the 3-point column.
So there you go, 30 points from SGA, 2 threes
now that's
from
a parlay
Chet,
if I've ever seen one.
13 points from Rui. That parlay would give you plus 430 odds. A $10 bet wins $43.
Oh, that's great.
On DraftKings Sportsbook, all customers can get a profit boost every time.
Rival.
You know, the city has gotten more and more excited about this team. We feel like we're some dogs.
Harris to the rim, and he backs it, able to foul. Tobias Harris erupting.
It's our team, man. It's our spirit. It's what we do.
We're going to have to be mentally and physically tough to beat this team.
And at the end of the day, we got to go steal them. Simple as that. We know what we're facing. You know, we're a really good team.
Great win. Got rest and recovery. Got game 1 coming in a few days.
Donovan Mitchell has a career average of 27.8 points per game in the playoffs, 7th best in NBA history. But he's the only guy on this list that's never made the conference finals. Our Mark Spears caught up with Mitchell right after the Game 7 win for the Cavs against Toronto on Sunday for the next installment of his ongoing diary for Anscape.
Episode 7, playoff edition. See you in Detroit.
James and Donovan Mitchell. Those are the two guys who have to make the Cavs go.
You can't kick yourself on not being able to close it out earlier, you know, because at the end of the day, it just wasn't meant to be. Like, you know what I mean? You sit there and get upset about things in the past. Like, hey, you control what you can control. This happened for a reason. And at the end of the day, I feel like we should have got Game 6, and then, you know, ball dropped.
7, down 1. Barnes on the move, tossed out. Barrett 3, off the heel, and in!
I'm excited. This is why you go for home court, right? Even if we were on the road, it's just Game 7. Literally do or die. This is why you compete. This is what you work for. This is the hours, right? So for me, this is a lot of fun. I'm excited for it.
Mitchell going to pull a 3 and knock it down.
This was expected, right? We expected to win the round. I mean, I think it took a little longer than anticipated, obviously, but everything you want is on the other side of hard, right? And, you know, and understanding that adversity is part of it.
Harden clears for 3. The Cleveland Cavaliers advance to round 2.
They're a tough team, man. They got a guy in Cade Cunningham who's elite, Jalen Duren who's elite.
And a beautiful move. Cade Cunningham doing it all.
Their group is physical, they're tough-minded, and they've been phenomenal all season. So for us, it's gonna be another tall task, and we gotta go out there and handle business.
He'll put up a 3. Good.
Whenever you match up with a guy who's an all-NBA guy in Cade, you know, it's always gonna be a big matchup, right? He's taken Detroit to lengths they haven't seen since Rip Hamilton and Chauncey and those guys were over there. So credit to him, he's a phenomenal player, hell of a talent, leader, and you want these challenges, right? JB was here for 2 of my years. No surprise what he's done in Detroit. He gets guys to play hard. understand their roles and what they do, and you see it's paying off, right? So this is going to be another tall task with the group, but credit to him, credit to that group over there. They've done a phenomenal job all year. They've given Detroit life, new life. And like I said, there's a lot of respect both ways, and I'm definitely excited to get out there, and we gotta still win them games. So it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be great competition. It's gonna be physical. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be loud. We are a tight-knit group who plays hard, got experience, and I think the biggest thing is we got a bunch of guys who are ready to go. And it starts with me and James and Ev, and we got a bunch of guys that got a bunch of talent. But if they don't believe in us, hey, cool. Don't matter to us. We believe in each other, and I know Cavs fans got our back, and that's really all we need.
Jamal Collier's in Detroit for Game 1. This is the Cavs' third straight season in the conference semifinals, but that's where their road has ended in 2024 and 2025. So, Jamal, what's different this year?
Well, Sedano, believe it or not, it's the fact that they had to struggle in that round one, I should say, against Toronto. Last year, everything was really easy for this Cavs team. They won 60 games. They really blitzed through that first round in historic fashion against Miami. And Toronto really tested these guys. They made things tough for Mitchell, for James Harden, and their kind of physical defensive battle really prepared them, the Cavs believe, for this series they're going to face against the Pistons. And it's going to give them something to draw on when things get tough and adverse in this series. And I like what Kenny Atkinson said immediately after Game 7. He said this series galvanized us. It wasn't fun to go through it and have to struggle and to put Toronto away, but the Cavs believe they're going to be a better team on the other side of this.
Interesting stuff, Jamal. Thank you so much. The Pistons are minus 125 favorites to win the series over the Cavs at DraftKings Sportsbook. That makes it the most competitive matchup in the conference semis, according to the odds makers. So, Brian, who should be favored in this series?
I know everyone's supposed to make a prediction, but I honestly can say I don't know.
That's fair.
It is close. Detroit obviously has some advantages, specifically in the physicality. But, the Cavs have actually had quite a bit of success being physical with Cade Cunningham. Some stats this year that kind of blew my mind. This year, when playing against the Cavs, Cade was 10 of 35 dunks and layups.
Crazy.
Not just like paint shots, dunks and layups. That's the worst on record for the last 12 years against any team, against any player, okay? Also, he was just 6 of 25 on drives. So, look, they played each other 4 times. Not everybody played in every game. It was 2-2. But obviously the Cavs had some success with their interior. Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, there were other guys against Cade Cunningham. And so, yeah, the Pistons are minorly favored. Cade's coming off back-to-back 30-point games facing elimination, which are so impressive. But he hasn't done great against that Cavs front line.
You guys know the song Under Pressure, right? Yeah. That is Cade. And it's not because of the circumstances, he has to win or these great expectations. It's just literally how much he has to do for his team to win. He is nursing his squad's success, meaning he's trying to buy as much time for his teammates, his supporting cast to be great and find themselves. And sometimes he has to do bad. We're talking about the bad boy Pistons. Bad all by himself. As you mentioned, 30-plus in multiple playoff games straight. He is someone that has been under pressure, and he's actually performing at a very, very high level. Now, on the other side, for the Cavs, a lot of people will say James Harden is under pressure. He came, and the one word he said was to win a championship. Now, he's probably third on the pecking order, but still the expectation for him to win. And Donovan Mitchell, who has not gotten further than the conference semis, I think, ever.
Correct.
Yeah, he appreciates you bringing it up again.
Don and I are cool. Don and I are cool. He knows it's all tough love, good motivation, but there's pressure on that side to perform for their legacies as well.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. I think with Detroit a little bit, because this is so new to them, there's a little bit less pressure. But I totally agree with you on the Cade pressure of just having to do everything. It's wild.
Yeah, it is. Good luck. Good luck.
The secondary score is probably necessary for the Detroit Pistons.
It's paramount.
Yeah. Brian, any thoughts, though, about just kind of those guys and their pressure real quick?
Yeah, I think Donovan needs to get off to a good start. Because if the Cavs can play from ahead, it makes everything easier.
All right. Coming up.
Game 1 in the semifinals.
It's the Wolves. San Antonio.
2 powerhouse teams ready to go.
Don't tap that glass, don't tap that glass. There's a monster already.
This is peak Victor Wembanyama defense. The Ant-Man lets him fly by.
There's your answer.
He's always the answer.
Big 3.
Randall likes to match up with Vassell.
That was tough. Nice move off the glass. Minnesota comes in on the road and steals game 1.
Welcoming in our reporter covering the Wolves, Anthony Slater. So, Anthony, Ant Edwards shocked a lot of people and played in Game 1. Despite the left knee injury that he was dealing with, what are the vibes around the team today regarding Ant as a whole at this point?
Shocked a lot of people in the organization, too. They're positive. They just wrapped up film session behind me. And it's a relaxed atmosphere. Edwards, I saw kind of jaunt out of here, and it sounds like he's going to get some treatment later today, maybe get a light workout in. I asked Chris Finch, hey, can you maybe bump his minute total up, past 25? They don't know that yet. But he played 9 of the last 12 minutes. He scored 11 in the fourth. I thought he got stronger as the game went on. That was a good sign. But the topic of conversation today, in Minnesota's camp was Wembanyama's goaltends. They thought, obviously a playoff record, 12 blocks. Chris Finch said he thought 4 of them at least were goaltends. Rudy Gobert joked that he wants that treatment too. But there was one obvious one early in the game on a Terrence Shannon drive. But there is some lobbying going on already early in this series.
Interesting stuff, Anthony. Thank you so much for the time, as always, man. Appreciate you. So here's where we stand out west. The Wolves have taken a 1-0 lead over the Spurs, while the number 1 seeded OKC Thunder host the Lakers tonight in Game 1. And yesterday, our very own Chiney Ogwumike took to social media to ask her followers which number 1 seeded matchup they wanted to see her break down. And by a slim margin, the Lakers and Thunder prevailed. So, Chiney, how exactly can the Lakers pull off the improbable?
You know what we have to do? We have to give the people what they want. And first, in order to take down a number 1 overall seed, you need, this is my checklist, you need to win the possession battle. Because this includes not just turning the ball over, you have to secure the ball, but you also have to secure rebounds. And otherwise, if you turn the ball over, you are handing Oklahoma City the greatest gift. Because if you think about it, during the regular season and the postseason, this team, the Oklahoma City Thunder, have led the NBA in scoring points off of turnovers at over 20 a game. The numbers speak for itself. So once again, if you take over the ball, you control the possessions. Otherwise, this team knows how to steal. They know how to hustle. They know how to dive on the floor. This is their bread and butter, and defense is the name of the game for them. So if you take care of the ball, you secure rebounds, you hold down the possessions, you have a chance. Now let's go to number 2 on my checklist. Number 2 to take down a number 1 overall seed. You need to put your best defender on the best player. And in this series, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the likely back-to-back MVP. You have to show him very different looks because the Suns, let's use that as a case example. The Suns double-teamed Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on 33 plays in the first round. And the Thunder, they still scored 37 points on those plays. Almost all of this happening in Game 3. So he has an answer to all the tests, all the questions of the test. I remember those bars. And last but not least, on my checklist right here, you need a little bit, let me run up here, a little surprise. You need a little surprise. You need to be able to expect the unexpected, right? The Lakers, in this circumstance, in the first round, Luke Kennard was the surprise. He exploded for 27 points and 23 points in games 1 and 2, respectively. And also, Rui Hachimura, he helped close out the Rockets with 21 points in Game 6. DeAndre Ayton has had big moments. You need stars in their roles. You need momentum shifters. If you have, can we throw the checklist up there? If you have these 3 things, maybe you're telling me you have a little bit of a chance.
So you're telling us we got a chance. All right, we'll see what the Lakers can do to check off all those boxes on Chiney's list. But before we go, last night was the Met Gala, and the NBA and WNBA star